Don't ever tell a woman in horror she can't do anything. Don't ever tell her she's just a victim either. While women of all types are still looked upon as fragile in standard society, the women of the horror community are nothing short of dominant queens. Dawn, the owner of Classic Horror Shop, took the helm when her husband was unfortunately laid off in 2019. Within 2 months, Classic Horror Shop launched, and it took off. Not long after that, Dawn was vending her horror collectibles, apparel, and other wares at the most magical Midsummer Scream. You know that one I'm always talking about. Amidst living with a disability to now owning 2 small businesses, and now COVID, Dawn is enduring and enduring well. Classic Horror Shop is a one-stop shop for all things horror, from all licensed products like NECA, Funko Pops, and apparel from shops like Ultimate Vintage. A female-owned small business. I mean, need I say more? Classic Horror Shop needs to be a bullet point on your Horror Day shopping radar. So, without further ado, let's get to chatting with Dawn, owner of Classic Horror Shop.
Shut the fuck up.
Yay! It's like the perfect time of year for shops. How are you, Dawn? Thanks for joining me today.
Good. Oh my gosh. We keep passing each other at shows in the past, but we've never met. I'm so excited. Yay.
I know. And I loved your comments all year long. It's just like a bubble full of like positivity, holy fuck, unholy fuck out of me. Because I'm like, she's just like us. She's just like the rest of us horror girls. You said in your bio that you you basically tell the tale of being a kid and lover of the 80s, which is like the best generation ever. No qualms. Okay. And you used to set up the childhood game of sticking hands in a box full of peeled eyeballs, which were, you know, the peeled grapes. And you had your friends afraid of Freddy. You had your friends afraid that Freddy was around every corner, which you're like my horror hero. So what was the very first horror movie you remember watching, and how old were you?
I was watching horror pretty young. I think my first horror was in the 80s and probably Nightmare on Elm Street, I would imagine. And I mean, I wasn't like 5, but when was that? I was probably like 12 maybe. So I was hooked from that. And we continue the tradition with my nephews, like their favorites. My nephew Emery is 11. His favorite is Killer Clowns from
Yes.
and Ghostbusters. Like they're also fans of the 80s now.
Yay! I mean, it was the best time for horror, period. So you're thinking you were about, you know, between 5 and 10. So, but you took the helm. You grew up in Ohio, you were saying, in Toledo. And you used your parents' basement. Did they ever know, or did you always sneak and watch your horror stuff?
Huge planned Halloween parties for my class. Like, you know, every year down the basement and set up the whole basement as a haunted house. And so we would all go through, and we had full Halloween costume contests with prizes and everything. So it started young.
Oh, that's so dope. That's so amazing. Now, you just basically explained, like, what were your childhood Halloweens like? Were you out trick-or-treating? I love hearing these stories because I know how it felt being a kid in the 80s on Halloween night. It was the absolute best.
Yes, definitely. Obviously it's different here. I live in Los Angeles now. And, you know, sometimes, I don't know. I feel like that Midwest growing up vibe was just so much better. Like, I almost feel bad for some of the kids in LA because it's just not as big of a thing here. You know?
Right, which it is sad. We don't have the fall wind. We don't have, not very often, we don't have the leaves. You know, speaking of Ohio, Trick or Treat was set in, I think it was a fictional town of Warrenville, Ohio. So I want to live in a place like that, just not in a landlocked state, you know?
Yeah. I don't know if that's an actual town.
I don't think so. Because Michael Doctor grew up somewhere in Ohio. So I'm like, oh, you guys get it. You guys get it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Did you? Trick-or-treating was huge there. I mean, that was definitely every year on the 31st. You start as soon as the first glimmer of darkness starts. And out for hours. So yeah, it's huge there. There are certain things that I definitely miss about the mid.
So that's funny. Now, did you ever get any shit from your parents or other kids' parents, especially for all the shenanigans that you were up to, like telling the kids that Freddie was around the corner?
Not that I know of. I mean, my mom honestly probably wouldn't have even told me if someone complained, and she would have backed me up and been like,
awesome.
Whatever, dude, like your kid's safe, fuck off, whatever. So like it's fine.
Oh, your mom is fucking awesome. So I guess I know where you get your awesomeness from. Now let's get into forgive me if I pronounce it incorrectly. Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome is a connective tissue disorder. What age were you diagnosed with EDS, and how do you manage?
I've been having random symptoms my whole life, but no one ever put all of it together. I feel like had I maybe had a typed up list of my entire history, someone would have been like, a lot of these things link into something. But I think, let's see, 8 years ago I got diagnosed. So
okay.
It takes a while. The average length to diagnosis for that is about 9 years, which sucks. And in that 9 years, you're just wondering, like, what the hell's wrong with my body? And honestly, a lot of times, some of the things that you have going on, doctors a lot of times accuse people of it being in their head. So it's a path to diagnosis that isn't very fun. I mean, a lot of my issues are obvious. So I didn't have that, but a lot of people that I know did.
Okay. So do you, and again, it's not something, I was familiar with until, we started talking, and you were saying how your mobility, just it declines, and you're like, oh, my tired body, but you are entrepreneurial, powerful as all fuck. And I'll get into that because you're one of my heroes. Now, if I'm correct, Midsummer Scream 2019, which was the first show that you vended. Am I correct in that?
I started classic horror at the end of July, and then Midsummer was my first show. And a couple of people told me, like, you shouldn't do that as your first show. You should just go and visit and see how it works and look at some booths. And no.
So have you had not been before to Midsummer
No.
And that's what's interesting too. So many people went last year for the very first time, and it's perfect because it was the best year. I've been going ever since. And it was magical. Again, we were there, and I didn't get to see you. I remember your shop, walking by a few times. Now tell us more about that. Why was it such a good experience? Like what I think, first of all, you got into Midsummer Scream, right? Right there is pretty impressive because not everyone can get in. They may have 250 plus vendors, but there's still vendors that can't get into it. So, how did that feel? And tell me about that weekend for you.
Well, I mean, I was excited, even though people were recommending me not to do that as my first show. But I mean, when I got that email, I was so stoked because I was like, fuck all you people. I'm going to do this. I'm going out big. Like, you can't tell me no.
I love it.
So I go there. This was the part that no one knows. So I don't know what I'm doing because I had never vended a show ever. I get there and I didn't know booth sizes or anything like that, especially compared to all of the products that I sell. So I get there and I had a very small 6-foot table with, like, I don't know, 3 feet behind it.
Oh, no.
And I was like, yeah, this is not going to work. I rented a van. Like, I had a huge amount of stuff with me.
You did.
I just went to them and explained, like, this is my first show. Sorry. Like, I need a way bigger booth. And so luckily that just right before I went to them, so the timing was perfect, someone had a big corner booth and they couldn't come. And so they just said, oh, if you want to, upcharge and take this one, it's available. Oh my God. It was, I had so much fun. That show, honestly, I didn't walk around because it was so busy.
Right.
And I wish, more than anything, I wish I could have seen everything, but just the people, that community, those are my people. And
aren't we the best?
so nice. Even, not just the people who work there or volunteer, but the people that come, the horror fans. And I will say, obviously setting up a show like that is very stressful for the people who put the show on and run it and work there. And they were amazing. Again, I didn't know what I was doing, so I didn't know what to expect. And I did have some questions setting up and how far out can I put my table and things like that. And they were so nice always.
I love hearing that. And, I'll definitely make sure that they watch this because they need to know, hey, we really appreciate that. It's not like that with every show, as you'll come to learn, you were saying that you went to the IE Punctually, but you didn't vend. It was one of you were like, shit, I should have vended that show.
Shit. That show was unbelievable.
So
good. It was wildly successful. And all of the vendors that I'm friends with said that, they sold out of some products. Some sold out of all products. That show was a wild success. And whatever they did to promote that, they did an amazing
right job. I couldn't believe it. It was, again, another one of those shows where I left going, oh my God, I don't think I met more new people because it was all the same players that have been in the community for a long time. But seeing how busy they all were and the smile on their faces, I think I got emotional with Yvette Backstage Bruja because she ran out of everything.
That's what I was hearing. And even talk to your friends that were vending. They were so busy. They were like, hey, hi, I gotta go.
I gotta run now. And again, but you muscled through it. You walked through and got through the whole thing. And that's where we actually started talking, was shortly after that one.
Mm-hmm.
And then you went on to Hontex, and then there was that thing called COVID that just blew everything out of the water. Which is okay. Now, besides the challenges of being female into horror, because we still get looked on, I get looked on like she's weird because she's into horror. So, being a female who's into horror, disabled, a business owner, were there moments before and during Classic Horror Shop from the last year where you felt like you wouldn't be able to go on? And, you did. And what propelled you to do so? And what would you say to those who doubted you? Like the ones who told you not to vend at Midsummer Scream?
Well, let me answer that first because it's pretty easy. I did it. Don't tell me no, because not only will I do it, but I will do it well. And that show was an amazing success. And all it did was make me want to do trade shows more and more. It's so much fun. I love doing them. And being disabled, it's super challenging to do those shows. And just even the setup, I have to rely completely on my husband, and my friend Rios usually comes and helps us out because I'm basically like, all right, I'll tell you guys what to do.
What can you do? And the support system is everything, so your husband sounds like a pretty dope ass dude. Like you're saying, you took the helm, when he unfortunately got laid off. What were you doing before that happened, before Classic Horror Shop?
I still have my day job.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, we've talked about this.
And to answer that kind of goes into one of your questions that you just asked is sometimes that's the only time when I feel overwhelmed and oh my gosh, this is too much. It's just because I have a full-time job. And so you know, there are times, especially during September and October, where I can't pack orders until 6 p.m. And so I'm up packing orders until 1 a.m., you know, and so my work day is 18 hours straight, nonstop. And on those days, I forget to eat, and like it's just a hot mess. But I wouldn't change it. I mean, it's fine. Like, I love this horror thing, and you know, I do obviously get exhausted and feel, like I said, overwhelmed, but it's fine. I just take a break. Like, since Halloween, I've only made one post, I think, on Instagram. You have to remember with this shop, so I'm owner operated, so I do absolutely everything. I have to order products, I have to inventory, I'm social media, I like everything, you know, and so it is a lot. But I mean, the amount of things that I've learned, because I've never owned a business until now. So like, I love what I'm learning. I actually love the social media because I get to do super cool shoots with people. That's my favorite part of that. But I wouldn't change it. There's just definitely times where I feel overwhelmed.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it is important to rest, like, especially with our environment right now of the collective, you know, heaviness and depression. I think we're all feeling, oh, and now we have the holidays coming up, and you know, I'm excited. I think it's funny. I think I burned out for the first time this Halloween, and I thought it was going to be the most chill Halloween of my life, but I don't know. I had the worst bout of depression I've had in a long time, and some anxiety attacks, and you know, points where I woke up. I don't even get paid for what I do. I just love doing it, but I put
Yeah.
everything I have into it. You know, like you, my husband is an awesome support system, but we get burned out at certain points. And you know what? Sometimes I fuck it. We'll be right back. We need to
Yeah.
take a break. But now with the holidays coming up, I'm like, hey, let's have some more fun. And I think it'll be a little bit less, but
Yeah.
do make sure you are resting. I can't tell you that because you're going to be like, don't tell me what to do. I'm not going to rest. I have to get orders out. I heard your phone earlier.
Like, oh, I heard rest. That means I should work 26 hours a day, even though there aren't 26 hours in a day.
No. But it doesn't feel like work when you're actually enjoying it.
Yeah,
you know, it's
I
one
agree.
thing my husband always taught me. You'll never work a day in your life if you do something you love. So that's pretty awesome. Now, going back to when you started Classic Horse Shop, it's only been a little over a year. You purchased it after your husband was laid off, and you took advantage of an online business, which, you know, I've looked into that, and it's pretty fluid, you know, a good way to, you know, launch a business without loans and all that shit. So with an impressive 2 months, you launched it, overachiever much. And now you run the whole shop, and another business with your husband on top of it, and your day job. So what's life like with everything going on in the pandemic right now? Like, how has your year been?
Well, I was joking with you earlier. I don't even get dressed. So there's that. Like, when I have to go, I have these surgical procedures every few weeks. And whenever that happens, I'm like, oh my God, wear pants? Like, what? I mean, they're sweats, but what is this? I pull out my sweats and they all have hanger creases in them, you know, like.
I forgot I had certain clothes. I'm like, oh, hey.
Yes. And I'm like, man, so before the pandemic, I bought a bunch of really cool sweaters because I love sweater weather. Not that we've had much until now in Los Angeles, but I bought a bunch of sweaters and they're all still sitting there with the tags. So yeah, I mean, the shows, obviously, those are probably the biggest bummer for me of the pandemic, because I do love doing those trade shows and talking to people and meeting people and making new friends. So I'd say that's probably the worst bummer as far as the business goes. I haven't, outside of, you know, going to the hospital, I haven't really left my house since March 13th. So when you have Ehlers-Danlos, you also get all these other components because you can't just have one major life-altering thing. So I have a bunch of autoimmune conditions as well. So I can't really put myself at risk. So, you know, I was kind of a hermit before, but even as a hermit, I'm feeling very smothered or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, you know. And I've never like gone out here. I mean, I'm on crutches. I've been on crutches for over 5 years. And so I've slowly not been going and doing things as much over the years anyways. But now I'm like, oh, I want to do everything. Of course.
I know. And people are having shows, which bothers me. You know, because I'm like, and these are some vendors and businesses. I'm like, I get it. I totally get it. You know, you've got to keep your business afloat. I understand. But to have, they had a mini IE punk flea. And I saw it and I'm like, you know, I totally support the IE punk flea, Rad Coffee, you know, the vintage vault, have at it. However, I knew what was going to happen. You cannot socially distance people who want to be out of their house. And it was another successful event, but it was really, really crowded. And it just makes me wonder about people like yourself who cannot risk it. And then they have it like, I don't know. It was just a mixed feeling, a mixed bag of feelings. Because I'm like, well, that was really, you know, shitty of everyone to be out there. And, you know, mask and social distancing, to me, it's not enough when you're crowded in a small space like that. I know the vendors were okay, but I think about ones like you who can't go and you're just watching from afar going, the fuck, man? So I think about everyone's feelings.
I do too. And I'm a super empathetic person naturally. And so I get all the views, but more than anything, I get my view for obvious reasons. And you know, my dad's view, who's having health issues. And like, I have a lot of disabled friends just who we've connected through different groups on Facebook or however, you know, and so I think of them as well. I'm torn. Like, I also own a small business. I own several small businesses.
Right.
So it's hard.
Now, it's hard. So hard. It's just, it's been difficult. And that's why, I don't know if you've noticed, but I put out a small business shopping guide. You know, I made a whole little like mall directory is how I envisioned it. And, you know, just to sit there and say, hey, you guys don't shop from Amazon because they'll be there on December, you know, 31st, where some of these businesses this holiday season may make or break some of them. So I put it out there so people can, I mean, fuck, I love shopping online. It's the best thing that's ever happened, especially from, you know, shops like yours. It makes my life so much easier. Yes, I will come meet you to save shipping, by the way, as long as, you know, we do it safely. I don't want to ever expose anyone to anything. But it has been hard. But I love to see that you were enduring. You got orders as soon as we got on the call today. Like, I love that. What is your best seller right now? Like, do you have a bestseller at the moment?
I think maybe the Chucky doll, but I mean, that's a big ticket item, so it's pretty pricey. But it has free shipping, so that's always enticing. Yeah, I do free shipping over $100, and so I think that's helpful to people right now.
It really is. Spirit wouldn't do that for us.
I can't. Like, I can't. I try not to bash anybody or anything. So I'm just going to say I can't. Like, I feel like that store did a lot of damage this year to small businesses only because
absolutely.
It was one of the only stores that, you know, was open. And so it just, everybody got so excited to go to an in-person Halloween store. And so
the experience, I'm one of them. I was excited too until I always get excited with Spirit up until like October hits and then like they run out of everything. Also, too, to mention, when it comes to this Michelle Halloween invades Christmas thing, I'm also giving a big fuck you to major retailers.
Yeah.
I'll throw Spirit in there too. Well, I can't throw Spirit in there because they give Halloween stuff. They sell Halloween stuff, but like Target, I don't know if you ever saw Target shit on the wares this year. It's like they didn't even pull anything out. They threw out what they had in the bag from years before and threw it out there. They didn't care.
Yeah.
Lowe's with the Christmas bullshit, like in late September. So there's a lot of fuck yous going into my Michelle invades Christmas.
I'm all about it. All about it.
Shop small.
Like, I want to post on my social and support small businesses, but I also don't want to be annoying. You know what I mean? So like every once in a while I make a post, support small businesses. And it's going to be time because Black Friday is coming. And, that's the obvious. Everyone's going to be shopping at Walmart or wherever. So
why? No, stay cozy in your sweatpants. Enjoy my gray sweatpants competition. You'll love it. Just watch, get some entertainment on Black Friday and make some sales. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Classic Horse Shop, the unique thing is you sell everything. It's a one-stop shop. I can go looking for a Krampus gift and then buy myself a dress. Hint, husband, hint.
I've been trying so hard to have like a super well-rounded shop, unlike any other. And the other thing too is that the horror community is so male-dominated, and I want to focus some of that more on non-males in horror. And so I'm super proud of the fact that my Instagram is 70% female, 30% male, which is pretty impressive, I would say. And I would guess quite a few of those people are also LGBTQ community members, which I love. So, I've been trying really hard to be inclusive, and I feel like selling dresses and skirts and all of that is important to me, just as a female, and, trying to kind of change that male domination in horror.
Right. And that's the other thing. We're always just a little bit, well, a lot, just, hey, it is a male dominated, genre. You brought this up to me, in fact, and I don't think I brought it up in the recorded session, but for you guys watching, Dawn actually was like, hey, do you interview females? And I'm going, I do, don't I? Hold on. And I actually went back, had my husband look, and he's like, yeah, babe, like my Instagram is more, when I look at my insights once in a while, it's more female, which I'm proud of. Good. Because honestly, if I want to go take a picture in my new dress and my boobs are out, I'd rather get the applause from the women, not the men. Fuck you guys. I already know the men, but he was right. You were right. Like most of my interviews, I think it was 78% were dudes. And I'm like, oh, well, fuck that. I'm changing that shit. So I have some stuff coming out with you included. Like you're launching the whole, holiday thing for me. But no, I want to be more like, hello, this is female run. The divine feminine. We should be running the ship, in the horror community and in the government and the world.
The ship and the shit, all of it.
Just give it to us. You guys have had your time.
All of it.
Now, again, you certainly embody and have the divine feminine on full display. You fix other women's crowns, while you're kind and you don't hold back, which I also love about you. Now, who would you say your biggest female influencers are, especially at this point in the game?
I don't know. That's a good question.
The good answer would be me. You, Dawn, yourself.
You're like, me. Hello,
not
Michelle.
Me. No, not me. Dawn, yourself.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know. Honestly, I feel like I kind of just did all this like gung-ho, just get in there. I didn't even do a lot of background, to be honest. I was just like, I love horror. I'm going to start a business.
And the thing they look at is in horror, a lot of times the woman is the female is the victim, the dumb slut. Like, I love Terrifier, the film, the movie. I love what Art the Clown does to the chicks, but at the same time, I'm like, again, it's we're always the victim.
Yeah.
In more modern times, or nowadays, we're getting a lot of more inclusive heroines in the mix, with the films like Antebellum, which wasn't that great, but it was still awesome because she was such a badass. So it's nice to see, even if, like you were saying earlier, the LGBTQ community is coming out in the horror films and kicking ass. The stoners are kicking ass in horror films. Everything's turning. Yeah, but it's funny because people will go, "Oh, well, you're into horror. That means you must be, a big-titted, weak female."
Blonde. Yeah.
Blonde, helpless. Fuck that.
Yeah. And like always running into the woods alone when they hear a noise or whatever. Like, come on.
That's not what we would do.
No, the one person that just came to mind when you were saying all that is obviously Laurie Strode.
Yes.
I mean, she's pretty badass in the
She really is.
So
she really is, especially 2018. Even my dad was like, "Oh yeah," like he claims he's not into horror. He says that, but he's the one that actually got me into it, in an indirect sort of way. But when he saw the previews for Halloween 2018, he was like, "My woman," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's not your woman, but she's such a badass," like
yes.
Oh, now
we need more of that.
Yeah, I love it, and I want to see more of that. And I love how she, promoted the film, and she was like 3 generations of Strodes, with her daughter, and the granddaughter. And I'm like,
yeah,
still can't beat Michael though. Maybe Michael's a female. We'll never know.
Oh my God, plot twist. Did we just come up with it?
We may have just come up with something. Now, what is your vision and advice for women wanting to start their own business? For me, example, I would love to start my own business. I have an idea. It'll be a family business, but like, what advice could you give to someone who is like us? I was running around in the shadows, at these conventions, and then I just put myself out there. But yeah, give me your take on that.
Well, so I mean, I can't say that the concept was mine. When my husband got laid off last year, there are websites where you can go and they sell different types of businesses. They sell brick and mortar, like retail stores, and online. Like, there are all different kinds of businesses that you can buy on these websites. And so we were looking for him for a little while. I don't know, not that long, a couple of weeks. And I saw this horror website for sale called michaelmyers.net. And the guy who owned it had started it 19 years prior. So, I mean, this was like a really established, it's Myers specific, Halloween specific. And it didn't have a ton of products, that were for sale, but I don't know, within a week I bought it because
so badass.
Why not? So my husband was looking, then I ended up buying a store. And so that was where classic horror was born. So I purchased michaelmyers.net, and I don't know, that kind of like kicked my ass to be like, okay, let's do something bigger and broader, and those other 80s films that I grew up on and love so much. But I didn't want to mess with his store. And the guy that I bought it from is amazing, and he couldn't have been better. And we still maintain a friendship. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. And I know not everyone goes like that, but this one did. But it was his baby, 19 years is a long time, and he loved that franchise. So I kind of started learning, who are some of the manufacturers? What do I want to expand Michael Myers out? Because he pretty much only sold costumes and masks. And so, from there, I kind of like, oh, let's expand Michael Myers into Funkos and NECAs and different products. So then I learned, you know, who are those people? And then from there, within 2 months, because you can't have enough going on, within 2 months, I started Classic. And so, and then just over the last year, I've expanded more and more products as well. And I think the key that I learned and would recommend to people wanting to start a business is to find someone who can almost mentor you or help you learn how to do things, because Google's my best friend at this point of learning how do I own a business, and probably would have been better to have an actual person help me through this process. Or even groups, you know, especially if you're a woman. I actually just joined a female only business group. And it's for, you know, people who want to start a business or who have a business and have, you know, things that they want to teach others. And I think that's really the key and really important, because if you start it off, you know, not doing certain things right, with things that you have no control over, like Google, who has been very challenging. They actually, I've been having a problem over the last week. They flagged my store for something. And so my store isn't on Google for the past week, which is
that's interesting. Probably because it says the word whore in it. And, you know, whore gets a lot of shit. Just the term
let you use the word mask. And so it's those things that I wish I knew. And those are very specific to horror, obviously, but even like protective face masks, because I started selling those, like COVID, you know, cloth ones. You can't say that. I forget what I have to say. I think they say cloth face masks, or so, I don't remember, but it's very specific.
Wow.
And it's those kinds of things. And like, I use Shopify as my store website. And it would always be helpful in setting up your store to have help, you know, like how do I set up the shipping and things like that. So if anything, that would be my biggest recommendation, is to find people who have businesses or have even businesses that maybe didn't work, you know, so that they can tell you what didn't work. Because those things that I'm talking about, like this Google thing or not setting up your Shopify store properly, unfortunately, those things will be unsuccessful, and it's not anyone's fault. It's just, there are a lot of weird parts to owning a business that I have learned.
And you're like, and it's only year one. Just wait until year two.
I know.
Now, I'm of the mindset that there's room for all of us, and I like to think that most of us have each other's backs, especially in the horror community, the Southern California horror community. I've seen, someone's as a family member pass away, and the entire community will go and uplift that person, you know. And we're horror people. It's just so baffling, and I just love it. Now, I do know that it's not always the case, you know, because I have to live in real land once in a while. Now, with the holidays approaching and so many small businesses in the horror community and outside, to choose from, Classic Horror Shop is actually a one-stop shop, which is why I love it. Now, how do you stay professionally competitive, or how do you plan to, especially within the next 6 weeks?
You know, it's been challenging too, because one of my favorite ways to promote my store is photo shoots, and can't do them right now, really. And so I tried to come up with a COVID safe photo shoot, and it was the first one that we had done in, I don't know, 6 or 7 months. And so we did a photo shoot, and I haven't posted it yet, but I'll give you like a little insider info. So I try to come up with something where, everyone stayed 6 feet away. And so I came up with this photo shoot where we were at a car hop, and the girls, there were two girls who are car hop waitresses on roller skates, and they're taking orders of people in their cars. So we just had the windows rolled almost all the way up. And so they take the orders, and then when they come back with the food, they're dead, and Michael Myers is in the background. And
I love it.
I feel like social media is so important, and it's hard because the algorithms with Instagram especially make it more challenging, which is unfortunate because that is the best way to promote your store. So I have that photo shoot that I've been hanging on to post for Black Friday or the holidays. So I have that, and maybe I can try to sneak another little one in before then. And also, not just because of the challenging time always, I also want to promote small business. So even though I am a small business, I'm always, hey, I'll make a post and like tag other small businesses in here. These are some of the ones that I love. I love that. I don't see it as a competition. I want everyone to do well. It's not about just me, and especially now, so the more we can help each other, I think we will all be more successful over this next month.
Oh, perfect answer. Because again, you're not, and I think that is really important, is the fact that you do share other businesses. And those are the ones that I definitely pay attention to, because I don't want to see, oh, it's all about me. It's all about me. It's all about me. My store, my store, my store. I usually ignore those. And I go to the ones that actually share the love and go, hey, I did, this is what I love about the community. And they do more than just promote themselves. They're not pretentious. So I love that. I think it'll be great. I can't wait to see this photo shoot. And I love the fact that you're a photographer too. You're like,
no, I don't take the pictures. I mean, I take them on my iPhone, but my friend Annie actually takes them all.
Nice.
Yeah,
you have it.
This is the thing. Here's the funny part about her. Her photography is of babies, like newborns, and then blood. Like there's no middle.
She's either hot or cold.
Yeah. It's so funny.
I love it. Now, you're a genuine horror lover. How do you feel about Christmas horror movies like Krampus or Silent Night, Deadly Night? How do you feel about those?
They're fine. I mean, Christmas isn't my thing at all. Like,
here's me going, I'm trying.
I don't know. I went to Catholic school my whole life. Yeah. So I had my fill of religion, and I don't knock anyone who's religious. I don't. Everyone should do what they feel and is right for them. It's just not for me necessarily. So I'm just horror all the time.
Like, horror. Those films are okay. I like incorporating the two of them.
This is my version of like a Christmas.
Yes.
Gremlins. Or like Nightmare Before Christmas, like you have on.
Yeah.
Those are my versions.
Yeah, where it intertwines two worlds into one. I totally get it. In fact, my husband and I are actually doing away with the Christmas tree this year, even though the Christmas tree is a pagan, symbol of winter that the Christianity stole, like a lot of things, and twisted it to their own thing. Sorry, I'm not talking shit. I'm just saying facts. Okay, people? Like you, I try not to knock religion, but I totally do at the same time. Because like you, I had to go through some shit. And I'm going, okay, this is dumb. But we're actually doing away with the Christmas tree this year, and I'll give a little hint. It'll be a Krampus theme. Nice. Okay, so because I want to keep things spooky and more in line with the season change. So I love winter. I mean, I love Christmas movies like Office Christmas Party and, the raunchy ones and the scary ones. So, I mean.
I do miss seasons from growing up a lot. I love snow. I love winter. I yesterday was looking at black Christmas trees and I'm like, maybe this year I just do like a black tree. I don't know. My sister has a black one and she leaves it up year round.
Yeah.
And she has all of my horror ornaments that I sell on it. And it's just
perfect.
a year round thing.
Yeah, it's perfect. I have one too. I can't find it though. I was pissed because I was going to put it out for you today. Now, what goals do you have for yourself and for Classic Horse Shop come 2021? I think at this point, we know COVID isn't going anywhere, and we're probably not going to get, those trade shows, not at least until, well, I'm hoping by next Halloween. I want Midsummer Scream to be the first one for 2021, even though I'll be fucking terrified out of my mind, but I'm still going to go. Depending on if it happens.
It's scheduled in the beginning of July, I think, right now.
Which is.
I mean, I'll be first in line. Shoot me up. Give me that vaccine. I want to leave my fucking house so bad. Like, oh,
give it to me.
Yeah. So, I think a lot of it is going to depend on that. When the vaccine is available, but I don't know. I mean. Some people are having small shows still, but I won't. I participate. So, I have to factor that in. And the thing is, I'm in a very different situation than a lot of small business owners in that I have a full-time job as well. I mean, some of these small business owners make the most amazing handcrafted products. And that's what they do to make money, And like, honestly, I really want to promote those kinds of things, even almost more so than myself. Just because I know I'm in a different circumstance than a lot of people where I still have a job. And so, I want to keep doing what I'm doing the way I'm doing it for now, because having basically 3 or 4 jobs is a lot. Right. So, I don't know how much more I can do, but I'm happy with how it's done. Shopify gives me these alerts that people who started their stores around the same time that I did, I'm in the top 3% of stores. So I'm honestly like, I'm content. Like, I'm so happy with how it went and what I've learned. And I want to keep learning, obviously, about owning a business, and especially the promotional part of it, and, the social part of it, and engaging people and that thing, especially the engagement part is important. And I mean, other than like people commenting on my Instagram, I don't really get a lot of that because most of that is in person at shows. So outside of that, I would like to figure out some fun ways to engage more with people since we can't do the shows.
I have some ideas I'd love to share with you too about that. So to where you can get the best of both worlds all in one, and stay safe in the meantime. So I'll share that with you after.
Yes.
So, in the meantime, everyone, get your asses over to classichorseshop.com. Start ordering. Hexmas, the Horror Days are right here. And at the moment, this is the best time to shop small, is right this second, November. Okay? So get it done. Let me know what you think. Make sure you give Dawn a follow. Make sure you comment, like, and you shop because, trust me, you'll be shopping. There's something for every horror fanatic in there.
And if anyone is local to LA, I have a mailbox in Burbank, and I can save them the shipping and drop it off at that mailbox place. Well, my husband does because I don't leave, but then they can come and pick it up from the mailbox place and save the shipping, which is amazing. But obviously only people who are close to Burbank.
Right. I'm not, but I love going to Burbank. So so yeah, we'll talk more. But you guys see again, and you are just an example of what I love seeing in the horror community. You are the horror community. You belong with us. And
hello.
I do what I love, and I love to share, and you like doing the same. And that's where success, all the most successful business owners in the horror industry are the ones that look out for each other. And
Yeah.
I've noticed that, and I can see the trend. So you're doing everything right.
That's good.
And female power, you know, make sure that you are engaging with us females, because I mean, you came from us, so you may as well. All right, boys and girls, we'll catch you next time. Dawn, thank you again for coming on.
Yes, it was. Oh my gosh, this was long overdue. I'm so glad to finally
long overdue.
meet you.
Me too. Virtually.
Yes.
All right, until next time, guys. We'll see ya.
Shut the fuck up.